Start on YouTube. Start recording. Ba ba ba. I shaped my thing. And we're live on YouTube. Hey, that came up way faster than it has in the past. Yo, what's up, guys? We're back for episode 4 of the BCS Sports Show. We right now Spects is losing his mind on USC.
I'm just waiting.
Hilarious.
I'm just waiting.
You're just waiting for the review.
Yeah, I don't think they scored.
So
I'm gonna put that game on now. Actually, while I wait.
It's on the Big Ten network, so I don't even know if you have it.
Oh yeah,
we were gonna. I'm watching it on my phone. Wait for this game to end, and now we're realizing.
Oh God, there's now a minute 23 on the clock. Oh my God, there's time now.
They put a minute 23 back on the clock.
Yeah, it was down to 58 seconds.
Yeah, that's insane.
Wow, that's a solid amount of time to put back on the clock.
That's huge, actually.
So they hit the field goal, or is this guy
gotta kick the field goal, right?
I don't know.
You got to take the points, right?
Yeah, you got to take the points.
I would think.
Well,
we'll see.
Right? Spects is like, otherwise it's people just going for the jugular. I'm like, Spects is saying before we started the podcast, he's like, USC or Lincoln Riley just doesn't know how to go for the jugular.
He doesn't. He likes to eat this food. He does this crap all the time. He lets him back in, and then he loses. He's like dumbfounded. I watched it when they played Arizona State. It's like, it's baffling. It's sort of what they're doing. Yeah, they're kicking a field goal because they're not gonna.
Okay, yeah, like that's the smart thing to do.
They're gonna take the penalty. They're gonna take the penalty, give them a little bit more room, and just chip it in, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That or this was a bold move to do it. So they had the kicker do it. They're gonna have about USC will have like 40 seconds, and they're not gonna do jack diddly squat.
You never know.
You never know.
So they're out of the play. I do know.
I don't know. What's his name seems. I feel like what's his name is going to be solid in the NFL, like as a backup. What's his name? The Miller Moss.
We'll see. I don't know.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see him go out there and be like, I know what I'm doing to get this team to win. Anyways, and now I'm updating my Xbox. Sweet.
Nice. All right, so did either of you guys watch that Vanderbilt, Alabama?
Vanderbilt and Bama, yeah. I was watching that once because my phone, I got ESPN and all those sending like all the NCAA updates to me.
Right, yeah.
And my phone, I can't remember if it's The Athletic or if it was ESPN, was like, hey,
just heads up.
And it was like early in the second. I think it was at halftime. And
they're going for it.
Vanderbilt was up by I can't remember how much.
The push, and they got it.
Let's see.
Wait, did they get it? No, they didn't get it.
Wait, did they just go for it on 4th down?
They went for it. They're saying Fox is saying they got it, but no indication from the ref. I don't think they got it. I think they failed again. I think it's a turnover. I think it's a turnover on down. It's a turnover. The refs haven't done dick. Yeah, it's a turnover on downs. They didn't get in. He didn't get in.
Oh my goodness.
Fox jumped the gun.
I mean, it's not unlike most of these networks to jump the gun, right?
That's true.
The coach is losing his mind. I don't think he got in.
Why would the coach go for it?
First down, USC. Oh my God!
So worst case scenario, you got overtime, right?
Than them. and it's gonna be the same thing. They can't challenge it.
Yeah, but you'd think that would be a reviewable play by the ref.
Their review. I don't think, but.
It's under 2 minutes. Do they have the same rules as the NFL? That's got to be
reviewed.
Yeah.
I don't think he got in.
For those listening to this podcast, what happened. So, oh my goodness.
He went sideways. He didn't get in.
Wow.
There's no view.
That is a stupid.
The Fox guys are thinking he got it.
No, I don't think he got
it though. That doesn't look like he did.
I see his helmet going forward, but his ball's back there, so I don't think he got it. I don't think it looks like
he's in.
But here's the question:
it's hard to tell with these angles because these angles are a little deceiving.
So the ball's back
right down the goal line. They're at a slight angle.
No, he didn't get it, and I don't think there's enough to even overturn it because they're gonna say he didn't. Yeah, he didn't break.
Oh, I don't know. That looks.
I don't think he broke. I don't think he.
That looks like he got it, to be honest, but
I don't think there's enough to overturn it.
You might be right, but it
That's
looks
my
like
whole
he's
thing.
in.
I think you're right.
It's the quarterback snuck it in, right? I'm not looking at the wrong player.
It should be the quarterback, but I don't think he got it. I don't think he got it. Like he's acting like he didn't. I don't think he got it the way they're acting. They're acting like he didn't get it. Because I don't think there's no
a wild ending.
I mean, USC should lose.
Call it a touchdown, so that does play into it. This is
that's why I'm saying.
I personally, I think this is gonna. If this ends up standing, I'm gonna feel like how I felt during the Miami.
The call
the Miami, what's it called game? The Miami Virginia Tech game.
Oh yeah, the one last Friday.
I got it wrong on both ends. That should have been I think that should have been ruled a touchdown.
But the whole thing is, I'm surprised
stands. But instead, it's going to be not ruled a touchdown, and then
for the record, though,
I think they get overturned, and then both are wrong.
No offense, they should have thrown a flag on the coach. Personally, I think there should have been personal foul because the coach kind of lost his cool and threw his headset. There should have been a flag there, but it's neither here nor there.
But they never throw a flag for that.
No, I know, but I've just
never seen that.
It's like, I will say this: that is a discussion worth having for me personally.
They need to do it.
I feel like there's been some interesting I don't know if it's a change or if it's just inconsistent between the conferences or if it's just the stronger teams just don't get called for it. But there's been some no calls on taunting that last year. So I'm a little salty about it because last year BYU was about to possibly get some momentum back versus TCU.
Mm-hmm.
And Crew Wakely, one of their defensive guys, he got called for. I think he's the safety. He got called for taunting, and it was taunting.
Right.
But there's some of these calls today where I'm seeing I was watching in that Bama game. It was these Bama guys were yeah, you suck. I got you. In their face about it. Mm-hmm. And I'm how's that not taunting? And then there was one earlier today. I need to check who it was. I commented on it, so I need to find this on my Twitter. But there was one where a guy was shooting a gun at.
They fined Alan Lazard 14. What was that? I see 1,400.
Yeah, I think there were actually a couple.
And I'm and they're it's violent. I'm the fucking finger guns are violent. Just
South Carolina, where South Carolina was playing. The guy got up after he got him and pretended to shoot a gun at him. Unload a gun at him, and I'm how is that not taunting? What is going on, refs?
Aye.
Anyways,
honestly, it just needs consistency. That's all it is. It's the same as any penalties, right?
Either just tell me that all the players can do whatever the freak they want in celebrations. I'll be okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine. Just make it consistent.
As long as you're not physically touching the person, then
yeah, there is a line.
Super close to them or not letting them get up or something. There's certain things, but if you're just gonna let them celebrate however they want, cool, I don't care.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna make it a taunting rule, don't let it be something where the refs can be we're not gonna call it on Bama, but we might call it on Vanderbilt if they do it later. It's I don't want the ability for refs to be able to be we're gonna give an advantage to the team that we want to win.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was.
Remember, we banned the finger guns.
So
I'm just gonna watch USC
while we wait for the USC Minnesota game to end. That game, the Vanderbilt Alabama game, was crazy. So, like I said, I turned it on and I was just I started watching it casually. I was supposed to be cleaning, but I started watching it casually, and I was okay, I'll start cleaning once Alabama starts taking over. They never took over.
They never did.
There was a couple times where it just looked okay, maybe this is where they start to do it because they scored quickly. Mm-hmm. But then Vanderbilt would just go on a nice long drive, and that was
Jesus Christ.
Their quarterback was able to just run the ball all over the place on them, and he kept his cool, and it was it was a wild game.
I mean,
to see this unranked Vanderbilt team that everybody goes when everybody talks about the whole. I mean, and I also want to talk later about the stuff with the Big Ten and the SEC trying to basically say we're going to shut everybody else out, and the SEC commissioners because there's been proposals of a Super League, and the SEC commissioners no, I don't want anybody else in. It's just going to be us.
Right? Yeah.
Anyways, but we'll talk about that later. But But no. It's just it's funny because we all use Vanderbilt as like, yeah, well, you guys have Vanderbilt in your league. You act like you're like so good, but Vanderbilt's in your league. And for them to beat them, like it was one thing in 2012 when A&M with Johnny Manziel took down, an unranked A&M took down.
Sportsmanlike conduct.
Number
Hell
one
yeah, give me those
Alabama,
15
but it's
yards.
like it's a whole other thing when it's Vanderbilt, like
Yes.
the Commodores. Like it was crazy.
Commodores. Yeah, it's actually interesting. I watched I didn't watch the game. I watched the ESPN's 15-minute highlight, whatever. But the time of possession of that game, it was insane. How different it was.
Let's look at the stats of
Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt
wild
held the ball
dominating game
for
Vanderbilt.
42 minutes, and Alabama had it for 17.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
It's a dominating win by Vanderbilt.
It is.
I will say this is Vanderbilt needed every bit of possession that they had.
Oh, 100%.
Bama scored 35 on so much less time. So the time for every touchdown, Bama dominated in that way, but Vanderbilt kept control of the ball, which was huge. 12 for 18 on third downs, 1 for 1 on fourth downs. They gained 418 yards. Vanderbilt gained. This is a team that lost earlier this year to Georgia State.
They did. Did you see Georgia State's tweet? Where they basically tweeted they were better than Alabama because they beat Vanderbilt. It was really funny.
It's the whole transitive property thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, that's why I was like, I don't think BYU is going to lose to anybody this year because, transitive property, right? Because
Right,
Baylor
exactly.
and Colorado, it was a whole thing where I was like, we're better than pretty much everybody in the conference, I think. But no, I mean that might actually be true for BYU, but. Let's see, GSU football. I wanted to see the tweet you're talking about.
I think it might have been under their athletic department rather. Yeah, it was. I think they deleted it. It's under the GSU Panthers account. Hold on, I gotta find it.
Let's see, Georgia. Let's see, GSU Panthers.
There it is. Yeah, here we go. I'll link it to you.
Oh yeah, the transitive property.
Yeah, the transitive property.
The thinking bubble. There's the.
Yeah, it's that one.
Are they giving me hope?
Let's see. USC.
I want him just to fucking turn it over, then I can just rip Lincoln Riley and you asshole.
Oh wow, good decision to get to the sideline there too.
Yeah.
Not just a good decision, but a good execution of getting to the sideline. There's a lot of guys that don't do that part.
I was sort of is he gonna cut out
Atlanta Falcons game this past Monday, or that was Monday, right?
Yeah, against the Bucks.
15 seconds
to the end zone. Where the guy caught the ball and he ran for way too long. He should have gone right down and said, "All right." But luckily, they won, so they
picked it off. God damn you, Lincoln Riley, you stupid bitch! You are legitimately the worst fucking coach I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah, it looks like that's it. That's game.
Dude, Lincoln.
How did
Riley
Minnesota score? Pick six?
They scored on a touch.
No, it's 24-17.
24-17 is the final because
Minnesota. Minnesota got the touchdown.
Lincoln Riley.
And then
Lincoln Riley's a fucking fraud. Legitimately a fucking fraud.
He does this shit. I did share because I'm part of my Twitter kind of reaches into the Utah fans territory.
We're not playing this game.
Here watching this.
I'm gonna rip.
Shane would be so happy to hear you say that he's a fraud.
I'm gonna rip Lincoln Riley, you asshole. Get the fuck out of here. You are an absolute fraud. Let's play a game here. Let's do this. We're gonna have a little bit of fun here. Let's play a game of. Let's play a game. We're gonna have a little bit of fun here. Let's take a look. Let's go back here. Let's go back to the bowl game. Let's go. Wait.
Exclamation point! Salt.
No. This isn't salt. This is. I'm just gonna.
It's never salt.
No. This is. This is going to be legitimate. This is going to be a legitimate fact of how bad Lincoln Riley is the head coach. Here we go. Where is it?
Did he keep that? Yeah, he secured that.
Where is it? It doesn't matter. The game's over anyway. Where is it? Wait. Where's the?
Yeah, he secured that, so it's definitely an interception. They're reviewing it to make sure it's an interception, but that looks good.
Where is this? Where's the Toledo? Where's Toledo? I can't go back to Toledo. Oh God, where is it? New Mexico Holiday Bowl.
Dude, Minnesota's so excited.
Where is it?
This is bad for BYU though, because this will jeopardize us having like a solid. Because we're on a bye week, so it's like having a team that's going to enter the top 25. It's like
Minnesota's not entering the top 25. I hate to break it to you.
Beating a number 11 USC, I think
they're not going to be in the top 25. No, they're not.
They'll get votes. They'll be on the. They might be on the bubble.
They'll be they're 3-3.
They'll get a vote.
They're not gonna.
You're overhyping this. They're not gonna get. They won't get a vote.
They'll get a vote.
No, they won't. Oh, they're too late.
got votes pretty early on. They'll get a vote.
Hold on. So since losing to Tulane, USC last year went what 7? Where did they go? They went what? They finished the game under 500.
They went 8-5.
Oh man!
They went 8-5 last year. So far this year. They're now 3-2 in the last season, and Lincoln Riley has literally pushed this program back, and it's outlandish. And here's the funny part. This is the part that I don't think people recognize, and I sort of caught into it, but I thought it was an Alex Grinch thing. I think it's a Lincoln Riley thing. So in terms of games that they were way closer than they needed to be, Colorado last year, way closer than needed to be.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I may be overhyping Minnesota.
Yeah.
But I think you're also over.
No.
I've watched.
He's throwing the dirt on the grave right now to USC.
No, because this is the problem I've had with USC.
You're doing the opposite of what I'm doing.
No, hold on. Because this is the thing that drives me nuts.
He never wants to admit that that's what he's doing.
I'm looking at the scores. They beat Cal by 1. They shouldn't have beat Cal. Utah, they should have beat Utah. But they lost by 2. They beat Arizona last year by 2 and like double or triple overtime. This is Lincoln Riley's problem. Is he plays down to his competition and lets them back in, and he gets too far in, and then it doesn't happen. He goes, "Oh well, shit! It was not my fault." No, it's your fault. It comes back to you. Own up to your mistakes. Own up to the fact that you're not as good as you think you are, and fix it. You don't fix it. This team shouldn't be in this position. They're not a 3-2 squad. They are because of you. And the fact that no one wants to admit this is beyond me. Because now you're now probably out of the playoff. You have 2 losses. You're not going to get into the Big Ten title game. You have literally ruined the season yet again because you're incompetent. It's that simple. You're there. His incompetency and his lack of just wherewithal is horrendous.
Who is left on USC's schedule currently?
So they have Penn State, which now doesn't matter.
I mean, if you beat Penn State, you might be able to. Yeah,
I don't think it matters. It's not going to matter because now you're.
I mean, I guess you lost to Michigan, who's going to be your main competition at a potential 2-loss team.
So you have if you're looking ahead, it's dead. He killed the season because he's a fucking idiot. So now Penn State doesn't matter. At this point, he has to do what he has to do. What the university has to do is a cold hard look and say, is he worth it? What has he done? He's delivered nothing, quite honestly.
Yeah, but he just want another what's it called, to Clay Helton to come in and keep the program mired.
You know what? I'll take Clay Helton over Lincoln Riley.
Damn.
Because
here's the thing.
That's a hot take.
Here's the thing with Clay Helton. I know what to expect when Clay Helton coaches. I expect him to be a dumbass. I don't expect Lincoln Riley to be a dumbass. I expect Lincoln Riley to actually win games and outcoach guys that he should outcoach and beat the teams that he should beat. Not play this dumb game of, it's Minnesota. We should have let him score. Then we'd have full 2 minutes. No, I'm going to try to stop him.
I don't know which rant. I don't know which rant is better, this rant or the one after you lost to the Hell House and what's it called for the millionth time.
That was pure anger. This one's I'm actually being logical.
Anger too, I think.
I'm being
this one's anger with some logic thrown in.
No, but here's the whole thing: is like if you know your coach is an idiot, legitimately know like my coach is an idiot.
Yeah,
it's like Phil Nevin with Ron Washington. I don't expect Phil Nevin to do jack diddly shit. I expect Ron Washington to try to win games, and they both suck. It's the same situation. I know to expect with
Ron Washington, though. I do wonder if there was a little bit of like They realized at a certain point they weren't going to do much, and they were just like,
quit. I think he quit. I think he was trying to prove a point to upper management that you need to add pieces that actually are quality, and he was trying to prove a point that this isn't quality. You need to fix it. That's beside the point. But in terms of Lincoln Riley, it is 100%. I know what to expect with dog shit. I know what to expect with an idiot coach. You were quote unquote not an idiot coach. He's a fraud. And he should be treated as such. I've been saying this for years. I think he's overhyped because he does stupid shit like this. Where now it's going to cost him, and he's going to get off scot-free.
Yeah, he's going to take that $100 million.
Yeah, I was going to say, a college football coach is
a classic Spects rant.
A college football coach is the greatest job in the world because you can fuck up and you still win.
It's true. Once that ink is dried, you're good to go.
Isn't it weird to think that BYU has a better chance of making the college football playoff than USC?
I mean, to be fair, they're the best team in that conference.
Yeah,
it's probably BYU and Colorado. It's probably BYU and Colorado.
I don't want to believe that they're going to make the conference title game until they make the conference title game.
I understand that. Like,
it's one of those things where when they beat Kansas State, and then when they were like up on Baylor, I was like, I started looking at their schedule and I went, what used to be me looking at their schedule and going, oh my gosh, are we going to be able to fit 6 wins in here? Now I look at their schedule and I'm like, who do we lose to? Maybe, I mean, probably lose to Utah. And,
Utah's the only one. You should win out the rest of the way.
I don't even think, to be fair, I don't even think Utah. I think Utah's in a very bad position.
I think Utah's going to be a nice competitive game, but I do think it's a losable game for BYU.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And then, but then the other games, yeah, like Oklahoma State didn't look good today, so I'm confident taking on Oklahoma State in the night game at home. Arizona, it might be an interesting game next week because it's Arizona. They got Fafita and what's his name as a receiver. That's a solid group. The thing I was listening to a podcast. There's a podcast that I love to listen to. It's called Locked On Cougars. It's one of those Locked On podcasts.
Yeah.
But he had on a guy from the PFF. And like, I know PFF is like maybe a little overhyped, but like it's pretty good system in my opinion.
Right.
But he was talking about BYU's defense and like how it's been really good this year. And what he said was interesting about BYU's defense is they're really good not because they have any, because I think he said their highest or all their guys are rated basically in the 70s according to PFF, which means like solid starter, but not like amazing. So there's no stars, but from his perspective, he's like, that just means you've got this whole team that's bought into, I'm gonna play my position, I'm gonna do what needs to be done. That's what's been interesting for BYU. But anyways, but we didn't finish talking, I think, about the Alabama loss. That was my gosh,
they just got worked. The rushing for Vanderbilt,
we were talking,
time of
so
possession.
we were talking the stats.
Yeah,
I went away from it to look at USC schedule for a second.
I did the same thing. Actually, I closed out of the tab.
I need to go back to the Alabama because that was like the stats in that game are. So let's see, team stats. So yeah, Vanderbilt had 26 first downs. They controlled like you were talking about. They controlled the time of possession. They were outthrown because Alabama was trying to come from behind constantly.
Well, yeah, they were down 23-7.
They were only outthrown by 58 yards, passing yards. So that's really not a huge thing. Yards, like they didn't turn the ball over.
That's really, the big thing. If you look at the possessions between Alabama and Vanderbilt, they punted the same amount of times. The difference is Alabama had those 2 turnovers.
They weren't as heavily penalized as Bama either, which is hard to do because the refs are more likely to throw a flag at the other team than Bama.
Yeah.
So, like, Vanderbilt just, like, it's just surprising because this, like I said, this was a team that lost to Georgia State.
Yes.
And yet,
Alabama just came back and beat Georgia last week. Like,
yeah, and so they're sitting here and they just played a cleaner game. They just came out and played good football.
And like that's the thing is like
this wasn't a like getting lucky. One player got really hot sort of thing. Yeah. This is just a solid, overwhelming game for Vanderbilt. It makes you wonder if Vanderbilt maybe in the next few years is a team that might be on the rise. But again,
I guess we'll see.
But they lost to Georgia State this year, so that might still be. It might be. State. That is definitely a situation where I'm avoiding overhyping because, like I was saying with the BYU stuff, it's like it's funny when you start winning, you like look at the schedule, like, oh, we're gonna beat everybody now, and it's like, okay, hold on, I gotta keep my head cool. I gotta make sure this is like an honest assessment, like.
Yeah, I mean Vanderbilt, like they kept it. They only lost by 3 to Missouri. So maybe they are good, and the Georgia State loss is a weird one. I don't know, but damn, their schedule.
Maybe it's just a matter of like you've got certain pieces, but you don't have all the pieces.
Yeah.
So like maybe they lack depth for those certain weeks.
It could be, and also they kind of showed how, like if you're a big underdog like Vanderbilt was against Alabama, like that's how you beat a team that is heavily favored against you, right? Hold the ball forever. Run the ball, limit the number of possessions.
Video games, you just run the ball and hope, and
that
you throw it when you absolutely have to, and when you do throw it when you absolutely have to, you do play action and just chuck it down.
Right,
because
like
the AI is now setting it on the run, and it's actually really easy in those games to win.
But yeah, that's how you win against like a big program like that. Is just play solid, clean football. Don't turn the ball over. Hold the ball as long as possible. Let your defense rest. And then kind of hope that the other team is having a tough day offensively. Like when Minnesota
don't have a dumbass for a head coach.
Well, that definitely helped Minnesota.
Fire Lincoln Riley. Fire Lincoln Riley.
Oh man,
bring back Clay Helton. 11 and I literally said it's time to fire the idiot to my USC friend, my diehard USC. He's like, you've lost the plot. And I'm like, dog, 11-7 in their last 18. Yeah, I'm the one who lost the plot here. Yeah, I'm the problem. How dare I?
Are you sure you want Clay Helton, dude?
I want someone who doesn't pretend to be some sort of offensive guru. That's what I want. I guess what should have been the Kel is that he was too scared to play in the SEC that he thought the Big Ten would be better.
Yeah,
his good days are behind him. He's washed.
Could be.
Well, he hasn't even really recruited. That's the best part. What was USC on the recruiting class? I'm just curious.
USC is always going to be way up there, though.
I haven't been.
No.
Mm-mm.
They're in like the perfect spot. They're a big program.
They lose out a lot. So
they're 10th right now, according to
apparently they were going into this year they were 20th overall, 17 in composite, 19 in transfers. So not really.
The one I'm looking at, they're 10th. Where's Colorado?
Well, I'm looking at this year. I was looking at like the one coming in. So this.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at.
Where are they now? Well, that's going to change.
Still waiting for Colorado to come back to earth.
I think this is going to change.
Never going to happen. To the moon, diamond hands, dude.
I'm
holding all the Dion stock.
Except for what's funny is this is how it was last year for you when they were like 3-1.
Hey, we're 4-1 now, sir.
And then when they started losing, you were like, yeah, no, I don't follow Colorado football.
So here's the thing. Okay, we actually have a running game now. We actually have a defensive line now, and Shedeur isn't getting murdered every game. So this is the one, guys. We have some legs here, maybe. Maybe.
That's what's it like to have hope? That's the weird thing for BYU is like I do look at their roster now, and I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
This might be a solid year for
us. That's the thing is like you look at the roster and you're like, wow, they might be better.
but then also part of it is like, yeah, but what if this is just like outplaying your like what you have and
but you don't play anyone. See, that's the whole thing though. Is I'm not trying to take a big shot at the Big 12 with this. But that conference isn't exactly that strong, so it's not like I'm not saying BYU.
It's not the weakest.
I'm not saying they're not good, but I'm just saying like, hey, when you're in a conference where it's like there isn't really a favorite, you can kind of make yourself the favorite,
right?
That's what I will say. With the Big 12, you have
a lot of good teams, but no upper echelon team
or like teams that would be competitive in other conferences.
But you don't have like a
could
Georgia
compete for a conference title, but they wouldn't be like a clear-cut favorite.
Yeah, 100%. Because you have BYU, Iowa State, Kansas State, Utah, all ranked between 16 and 20. Like,
yeah, it's all
and then
good teams.
West Virginia, Texas Tech, Colorado are 2-0, but not ranked. Like,
yeah.
And
I still personally, even though they got steamrolled today by West Virginia, I still think that Oklahoma State was a good team. I think they've just kind of stuff has fallen off for them. So
it has.
I don't know. That's just me though. Maybe I just want to believe that because BYU is going to play them later this year, and I don't want that win to just be like a
fluke
or a fluke win.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want it to just be like we get through because if BYU, if they beat, the thing for me now is if they beat Arizona next week, which is like they're in the one of the primetime slots for that game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be sitting here going, oh my gosh, we could end up being 8-0. Only because now Oklahoma State looks winnable and UCF looks winnable. And so I'm sitting here
you'll beat UCF.
That's what I'm saying is I'm sitting here like if we beat Arizona, I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, could we go into that Utah game like undefeated, like a undefeated BYU team versus a one-loss Utah team sort of thing? Like that'd be a wild game to sit down for. But and then even if you lose to Utah, that doesn't end things. You could still be in the conference championship game. Like,
yep. Yes.
I don't have to care about college football anymore. How great is that?
Hey, NBA season starts in like 2 weeks, man. You can get up for that.
Watch the Lakers get stabbed.
See, here's the best
Ronnie James.
I don't get one. I don't have that channel, and two, I don't even care.
Are we full? Are we full in Ducks fandom now? Is that what it is? Quack quack.
I'm probably not, honestly at this point. It's once baseball playoffs are done, I kind of just go into.
I'm going to be watching probably more hockey than I than I watch.
Your team beats
basketball because for now, just because I'm going to have the Ducks to pay attention to because they seem like they might be like a talented young team.
They're not going to do. They're going to. They're not going to be rough.
They're not going to win everything, but like it might be a fun team to watch. And then Utah looks set up to possibly make a run at the playoffs.
Yeah, because you know why? Because the NHL expansion draft is broken.
They didn't. Yeah. That wasn't an expansion draft. They just took Arizona's team.
Phoenix.
Oh, that's right. They took the team. I was like, man, the expansion drafts were.
Busted. Yeah, no. That was no.
There's a reason they
drafted a pretty good guy. They drafted a pretty good player, and they've got some good talent. Like that they traded for. So like, this could be a big year for Utah too. So like, and they're now my second team because I want to have the local team be somebody I actually like to sit there and watch.
So to answer CJ's question, at this point, now that USC is probably not going to be in the playoffs. So I have no reason to care. I have no reason to care anymore.
Right.
I don't really watch sports until like Christmas, which is when the NBA comes into play during the week.
That's true. That's when the NBA.
But really, it's just going to be Sundays and so it'll be Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays now that I care. Everything else, don't care.
Oh yeah, football still exists. I forgot about that. NFL.
Yeah. So until the Colts, hurt me.
Hey, they got Joe Flacco, man. He's gonna carry you to the playoffs at 9-7.
Please end the curse tomorrow. Please end the curse of Jacksonville tomorrow. They're busting up the throwbacks, and I'm like, oh god damn it!
Your guy posted one of the videos with the song. It was incredible. He bleeds blue, dude.
If we end the curse, he's gonna be a hero in my personal record book. If they lose, kick him to the curb. He made Mike Tomlin blink. We beat the Bears. Colts by 50.
Colts by 50, dude. That's what I told you.
Dude, what's up with the Anthony Richardson, by the way?
A lot of talent. What we talked about that on Thursday.
We did talk about it on Thursday. A lot of talent. His brain isn't caught up yet.
He just needs patience. Yeah. And that's just it's just something that's it'll come with time.
And he's also only 21 or 22.
It kind of reminds me of what a lot of Utah fans are talking about with Cam Rising. He needs to just learn to not like be balls to the walls. Well, because he keeps getting himself hurt.
The biggest thing is with him, I said this before, is like I think they need They need a legit number one wide receiver and not just sort of like this weird
doesn't
manufacturing
Yeah.
of like faking Michael Pittman's like some sort of like number one option, which he's not. No, I love Michael Pittman, but you are not a number one. You are number two. You are WR2. Like, if they were smart and T. Higgins doesn't re-sign, which I assume he's not with Cincinnati, like that's the guy you need to go after. Throw the bank at Higgins, make him your number one, so you have somebody, and then draft somebody with speed in the draft. Like that's what you need to do to help him.
Oh man, but no, yeah. So, what was the other thing? No, there was something. Oh, college football. So I think Spects and I had a discussion on this back in the.
I talked about enough about college football
back in the day. No. We're talking not so much the college football scores, but the college football. The Big Ten and SEC trying to take over everything.
Right. When we had this discussion, I got called a college football purist.
No, when we had this discussion, you were on the side of basically like it doesn't really matter that this is just the way it's going to go, and like,
because you're
basically said people will buy in. You and I have a disagreement on the fact that I said people won't buy it. Like if like for me, like there's so many people between like all the different fan bases I see that are like, if you know, like for me, if BYU's not included in a whatever the Big Ten and the SEC decide to do with like their championship game between their conferences or whatever, like if that's what they decide to do and exclude everybody that's not in their conferences and it's only like a certain amount of teams, I will not watch. I don't care. I'm not going to care to like if they're sitting here going, well, look at the Georgia Bama numbers. I'm not going to watch Georgia Bama if it doesn't matter to me. If they're not in the same league as a team I'm rooting for. And I think like CJ would feel the same if Colorado's not included in like whatever expansion this is.
Well, I mean, USC.
What's the point in watching if it's not like going to be your local team? I'm not going to sit here and go, well, maybe I'll, because I'm from Southern California, maybe I'll watch USC. I hate USC. I hate USC.
So do I. They're dead to me. They're dead to me.
It's good. All three of us hate USC. This is a good time.
They're dead to me now.
I think it should
all agree. USC sucks.
I should choose not to watch USC games until they get rid of Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, you can boycott.
I'll boycott until LR's gone.
I see what you're saying. There's definitely the fair weather fans. No, I don't want to call them fair weather fans. That's not fair. But there are definitely the fans that like they care about their team, and if they're not part of the big thing, like it kind of kills it for them. But also like, yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I've never been a huge college football guy until like the last like 3 or 4 years. Probably since like the Cepho Luau time in Colorado. But I'll still like watch.
Keep talking.
Okay, you're good. But I'll still watch like Georgia Alabama if it's on, but I don't care as much, right? If that game had zero impact on the standings that Colorado's involved in or whatever. So,
although the one thing I will admit now, being in like the bigger Big Ten, is I do think it's sort of dumb that. I mean, granted, we would be in the situation regardless, but it is sort of stupid that. Even with like an expanded playoff, you're sort of at the mercy of everyone else, and you're not. It's not like. I guess the way it is now, I kind of think it's stupid because I like the idea of divisions because then you have at least some manicum control where it's like, no, there is no control. It's just sort of like now you're at the position of like, oh well, play better in your conference, and it's like, but you don't have a chance to play everyone in your conference. So
that's
even
true.
Like, and mind you. Fuck USC, but it's the whole thing now of like even if they still only had one loss, like they didn't play. They didn't play Oregon. They didn't play. Like they didn't play Ohio State. Like they're not playing. You're not playing everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I think I kind of think it's a moot thing because I don't think you're necessarily choosing the quote unquote best teams per se. I think you're like hypothetically, like Iowa could go undefeated if they didn't play Ohio State today. It's like, is Iowa that like it's the same thing where it's like Iowa play Ohio State for the Big Ten title. It's like Iowa sucks. We all know that. Like they're not that good, but they end up ranked because the same year. So it's just like because they are on the weaker side. Like, it's the same thing where it's. I get where you're coming from, and he'll call me a purist, but the reason why I say like I think that's just the way it is because I think they want better matchups, and he can be his little like
and they should want better matchups. I understand that for sure, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've always been more of a proponent of the relegation system. That to me makes the most sense. Like, because you take the top 30 every year, and then the top the bottom 3 and the top 3 swap divisions every year. So that every year you are getting like the best matchups possible, right?
Well, isn't that the God? Miami's a bunch of frauds. Is it? I don't know. I guess the whole thing for me is like, and he can be like, you're from, like USC's big. It's like, bro, USC sucked for years and they still fucking suck. Like the amount of games where it's like, oh, this doesn't matter is sky high. But I think college football's biggest issue is if they want to do like bigger conferences and quote unquote super conferences, then you better have some sort of thing where everyone's playing everybody because you're gonna run into the same issues you have now.
I just realized my mic was off.
You're gonna have like one extremely good team from the really good conference and a mediocre, subpar, middle of the road team for the underachieving underachieving side, and it's just gonna water down your product. Which is, I think, a bigger problem, and I don't think the idea of having quote like going by conference record when not everyone's playing each other is a problem. Which is like, why don't we just go west, central, west, north, like kind of like the NFL? You go west, south, north, east.
Yeah, like 4 divisions.
Minnesota's one of the best teams in the Big Ten, so
yeah, clearly.
No, but
they're better than USC. An idea
of relegation in that college student football league or whatever, I forget what they called it, but there's like a concept that they're like reviewing, but the SEC is kind of like the SEC is outspoken about it. I'm sure the Big Ten is also probably against it.
Well, don't have Iowa.
It breaks down the like it's I can't remember. Hold on, CSFL map.
The rivalry part of it.
Yeah, well, it breaks down everything into regions. So
yeah, that's the thing I was just talking about. Like if you have a
72-team Super League, hold on.
So if you have a West, you'd have a West, North, South, East, and it'd just be regional. So like the West would only go as far as Colorado. The South would go as far east as probably Alabama. Same thing with like the North, and then the East would be in the same time zone. Like that's really like I don't understand why we don't do that in all sports where it's just regional. Like I guess it kind of was with the Pac.
Well, it used to be, and then teams started moving conferences where now it doesn't make any sense.
What you need, because you need like this all just makes because like here I'll read you guys the breakdown. The East will be the weakest division, but the East would be Boston College, Maryland, Navy, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech.
Oh, let's go Terps, dude.
And then Mid-East would be Cincy, Penn State, Pittsburgh, Rutgers, Syracuse, West Virginia. That's also not like a super strong.
That's not a Penn State.
Yeah. And then Pitt is sometimes amazing.
Yeah.
Great Lakes would be Illinois. This would be a strong one. Illinois, Indiana, Michigan State, Northwestern, and Purdue. The Midwest would be Iowa State, Minnesota, Nebraska, Ohio State, Wisconsin. That would be like a very powerful. Well,
they have Ohio State
dominated by Ohio. You'd see a lot of
Nebraska, Wisconsin are good. Good sometimes.
And then Carolinas would be Clemson, Duke, North Carolina State, or North Carolina, South Carolina, and Wake Forest. That'd be a strong basketball conference.
Basketball, that's great. Football, that sucks.
Yeah, other than Clemson and sometimes.
But Clemson's been kind of not great lately too.
That's what the Pac-12 is going to be.
Yeah,
Bama, and then Mid-South would be Bama, Auburn, Kentucky, Louisville, Tennessee, Vanderbilt. I mean, all these conferences would, they'd play other schools from the other regions.
They would have to, yeah.
Southeast would be Florida, Florida State, Georgia Tech. This is a huge conference. Miami, UCF. Mm-hmm. So that would be like UCF would be the
Florida State's
battering ram, and UCF and Georgia Tech would get battered by the other teams.
Yeah.
Florida State would be LSU, Arkansas, Houston, Memphis, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss. Like I do kind of like this because it separates some of the like powerhouses.
It does.
Plains would be Colorado, Kansas, Kansas State. So this is basically the Big Eight: Colorado, Kansas, Kansas State, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State. Texas would have its own region: Baylor, SMU, TCU, Texas, Texas A&M, and Texas Tech. The Southwest would be Arizona, Arizona State, Cal, Stanford, UCLA, and USC. And then the West would be BYU, Oregon, Oregon State, Utah, Washington, Washington State, which actually would be a fun part of the one to watch because I think other than Oregon, none of the teams are like always dominant. And even Oregon like has its down years. So like,
yeah,
it could be one of the more fun, like, anyway, so I just thought that'd be, it's what I'm voting for because.
No, I think that makes no sense because it's like I said, I think like I don't know if you could hear me, but the thing that's I think a little absurd. I guess it didn't matter as much when it was like the Pac-12 or whatever, but now it's like we're reaching levels of absurdity where it's just like teams that are going to get in there didn't play each other. I don't know. I think the best way to do it would be going back to the regions, but not having like an overarching like the NFL where it's just like.
Yeah,
you're an umbrella. It's an umbrella term, but everything's broken up by region, so it's not
and
like
I think what I saw on some of the articles I was reading about this is they would have like a group of teams, like a group of 5 type conference on top of that would be allowed to like compete in the conference, and then they would be relegated if you had like a certain. Like you just have a cutoff rankings wise, and you just pull in teams that were doing better in the lower league.
Yeah, because the one I'm looking at now has a group of 8 conference with 64 schools that is broken up into 8 different divisions, and that's where like Colorado State is.
Get, like the top teams from that could like come in and like compete with the other schools, and then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder if they do like similar to the 12 conference, and then just have like feeder conferences, right? That second tier and maybe the top one of the bottom tier swaps with the worst of the upper tier or something. That would be, again, kind of getting back to the relegation thing, which again, with so many schools and everyone, potentially having an equal chance, something like this, where there is that relegation, where everyone's on a more even playing field, like, needs to happen. Like, I understand the SEC and the Big 12 or Big 10.
By the way, number 4 Tennessee lost.
Did they really?
Oh my gosh, today's been a wild day.
What the heck is happening?
BYU into the top 10? I'm just kidding.
I mean, honestly,
you guys not playing may
happen, but I could see some voters being like, you know what, BYU's undefeated. Maybe they bump us up just a little bit.
No, and that's the thing.
You should be. I think you should. What are you at 17?
Yeah.
I mean, you should be.
There was Ross. I think it was Ross Dellinger put BYU in his top 10, and I was like,
I think you're. You know what? I think
that's interesting.
I'll go on a limb here. I think you should be ranked 12.
It would be nice, but no. I mean,
because
it does have something to do with like preseason expectations, and then
here's my logic.
To overestimate like.
Here's my logic: is you're technically the best, and you're the best in your division. You're the best in your conference, and I think that. Well,
Iowa State's right there too, and they beat Iowa.
Well, okay. If Iowa,
what helps BYU is that it looks like SMU might be a force to be reckoned with in the ACC. And they held them to no touchdowns. And they're like going out and scoring 40 points against other schools.
So if Iowa State, let's say Iowa State gets in the top 10, yeah, you could be 12. It depends on where they put Iowa State. Because Iowa State should be a top 10 team at this point.
Yeah, especially with the losses today.
I was going to say, some of these losses, BYU might move up just by like the fact that they didn't lose because they didn't play. So
yeah, like,
I'm hoping. What's the score? Hold on. What's the score? Is Arizona playing right now? I need to check. I meant to be kind of watching these games, and some of them are too late. Oh, it's just started with Texas Tech. And
I was watching it. I'm like,
so nothing's going on right now there.
Is there anything else?
Kansas might be Arizona State, which means again, that's another thing where I'm like, okay, maybe BYU wins all these games of sorts that I wasn't 100% sure about.
Is there anything else we want to touch on? Because I'm sad, don't necessarily want to continue.
Oh man.
I don't have anything else. I don't know if we want to talk baseball.
MLB playoffs, wasn't that our yeah?
Oh, do we want to do that?
I'm still downloading Fortnite for afterwards. So
I can summarize this. Here, I'll summarize it. I think it should go. MLB needs to do the NBA thing, and 7-game series all the way through. One plays whatever the seed is, so the 7 seed, and it's a best of 7. That's all it should be. So there's no buys.
What's Shohei doing in his first bit of playoff action?
He hit a home run and that's it. He hit a 3-run.
He's 2-4.
He hit the piss out of one, but I'm kind of laughing because I would laugh hysterically if they lost.
Yeah, but 7-5, Dodgers are out
with 3 ribbies.
But the Padres have a man on first, so
let's go Padres.
Let's go Padres.
I hate the Dodgers. Let's go Padres.
I used to be, you know, it's funny.
I hate the Padres too, but I hate the Dodgers more.
I used to be well, actually, once upon a time, I was a Dodgers fan.
Gross.
I was a Dodgers and Angels fan at the same time. Gross. But a bunch of people at my church were like, you can't root for both. And they were like super rude to me about having rooted for the Angels at all. And I was just like, you know what? Fine. I'm just gonna root for.
You know what's funny?
For BYU or not BYU for the Angels.
You know what's funny? Is it weird is it like odd to think where it's just like at this point I root for players and not necessarily teams?
I mean, that's how all the millennials do it.
I mean, I still kind of do that in the NFL a bit.
Like I don't care about I'm not caring about players, or I don't care about teams as much. I just like players. Like I'll just root for individual players. So I'm not like.
I mean, I think that's kind of how sports is now. Like
I prefer, honestly, as dumb as it sounds, I think I prefer it as a viewing experience because I don't get tied up with like the team stuff. It's like, oh, he's doing. It's like the fantasy football. Like I only have to care about one guy.
That's true. Yeah.
And by the way, with Romeo Dobbs throwing a temper tantrum.
Oh, for the Packers?
WR1 baby.
Was he your wide receiver 1?
I didn't know because I picked up Roman Wick, or I picked up what's his name, Dontavian Wicks, and Watson's out. What's his face what's his ass got suspended for a game, and I'm like, yes.
Oh gosh, you had the other guy. Nice.
I get all the looks, bitch.
Yeah, that was super weird.
All the looks go to me. Go to.
Oh man,
I'm still gonna lose, but I'll be losing by less.
Let's go.
To be fair, it's the first round, so the Dodgers will probably win, and then they'll lose in the second round. Because that's what they do most years.
Good.
They usually lose in the first.
Let's go Phillies, dude.
I don't know who to root for. The Braves walked in limping.
Anybody but the Dodgers, really. I mean, Dodgers. I don't think the Yankees, right?
I don't even think the Dodgers are gonna get that far. I don't think they'll necessarily.
Good.
I don't think they'll necessarily. I don't know. I don't think they'll lose the Phillies. I think the Phillies are in a. Is it weird for me to say I think the Phillies are in the worst position of any team?
No, you can say whatever you want.
Because I don't think when it comes to the Phillies, I think the Phillies have a tendency to swing their way through things, and I think the Mets are a slightly better pitching team matchup wise. And then that's just got hot. I could just be getting hot at the right time.
Oh, Specs, we should put out our for any rich people that are
oh right.
Watching
you're a billionaire that happens to be watching this.
If you're a billionaire and want to own a baseball team,
if you have many billions of dollars, Ryan Smith, if you're watching this,
but you know what's funny? I sort of think he wants to sell, but he doesn't want to say it. And I think there's an interested party, and I think it's the Warriors owner who's still interested, and he's just sort of like, you just gotta wow me.
He just wants an offer that blows him away.
I think he has a price.
If he keeps holding out long enough, that the price will just shoot up, and that he'll get to sell the Angels for like $5 or $6 billion, and be like, "Yeah, look, I made them the most valuable team in all of professional sports." Ha 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 ha! No, it was because you were a dick and wanted to get like a crazy price. So like, I don't know. I just want him to let go of the team so that the Angels can be owned by someone who's actually willing to put out like a competent amount of money and a competent
like product. I said, I just sort of wonder.
My funny thing is Anytime I mention that, there's certain Angels groups that if I mention that in, they'll sit there and they'll say, well, he's, one of the top whatever payrolls in baseball. Yeah, because he's staying like right under the luxury tax. Like
he doesn't, the whole thing is he when it comes to the top payroll, they're middle of the pack. And for what they spend, they underperform.
Yeah. I really hope that
and it doesn't help that most of your payroll is two guys.
Or no, that Perry Managian, that he follows through what he said about Rendon, where he said,
"Oh, I'm sure he's got
to earn his way back. I'll call him if I have to."
No, 100%. Because the whole thing is, it's not his guy, and the thing that he has going for him is he cut. Think about the guys he's cut. He cut Pujols. He cut Upton. That should be a sign of like, hey, you don't play. You don't go for it. I will pay you not to be here. And I think the thing with Rendon is I don't think there's a team that's willing to take a shot on him. I think that's the difference. And I don't think there'd be a team that would be like, hey, we'll take him for the minimum. I don't think there's a team that wants him.
That's
I'm sure they can talk
even when he's healthy, he's kind of like,
well, why would you
love my family? So I don't really care about baseball. And you can say like,
anymore. He's just
unmotivated. Admitted like, I don't care about baseball anymore.
And the whole thing is,
then get out of the league. You've got millions of dollars. You've got enough that your family is set for multiple generations. So don't sit here and be like, I'm doing this for my family. It's like, no, get out of here.
You're not.
Go home.
Like, just retire. But it's like, who's going to want an overpriced third baseman that can't do anything?
I think he's waiting for to get cut, because then he's like, okay, I'm cut. I get my money and I can go home. Like,
which honestly,
I get paid millions and millions.
I would do the same thing.
I mean, then go. Like, no, if you don't want to be there, no one's keeping you there.
No, yeah, but if he doesn't at least act like he's trying, then he just gets to.
Yeah, but the whole thing is the act like he's trying is lackadaisical effort.
If he doesn't at least act like he's trying, then he doesn't get his money. So it's like. He's got to go through the facade that he's like, yeah, I'm showing up. Cool.
In the spring of like, see, I'm ready to go. Oh, I worked. Shut up.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. Well, and it was the same thing with the injury last year, where he tried to be like, "Look, the Angels misdiagnosed me.
That lying piece of shit."
But then why were you doing sprints?
He literally, that was the best part.
A week before you decided you were shut down for the season.
Yeah, you don't know this.
You basically went to find a doctor that would say,
if you don't know the story,
I'll sign off on something that says you can sit out for the year.
Yeah, here's the thing. Okay, CJ, so you don't know this story. So he fouled off a ball off his shin, and they said, "Oh, it was a bone contusion," and he was sort of ramping up activity, doing jogs and stuff. And then a week later, he said, "Oh, it's a fracture." And everyone's like, "How the fuck was it a fracture?" He's like, "I don't know. I told them it was a fracture. I don't know why the Angels didn't say anything." And literally everyone, including me,
him sprinting,
including me, was like, "Motherfucker, you can't sprint on a fracture."
His baseball reference stats are hilarious.
I have a funny.
He goes 150 games every year with the Nationals, and he's played no more than 58 with the Angels in 5 years. Like every year.
What's funny? Who's the worst
crazy.
Contract? It's hard to. It's a fun game of who's the worst contract in baseball.
Oh, his is
Brian or Anthony Rendon.
Chris Bryant.
Last time I felt good about Rendon was when he hit that left-handed home run after when Reed Detmers.
It was all downhill from there.
It was all downhill after that. But that was the last time I was like, yeah, go Rendon, you're awesome. Like, I was feeling good about him that season, and now I'm like, okay.
Getting more and more sad.
Sucks too. Jesus Christ, dude.
Mister, I didn't look at the Rockies. I should have signed that deal.
We got rid of Nolan Arenado for this. And Trevor Story.
How do you feel about that? Let's play
baseball.
A game. Who had the worst 2024? Let's play a game here.
Luckily I don't care about baseball that much, because the Rockies have been sadness since 2008. I
was gonna say, and the Angels did enough at the beginning of the year this year for me to be like, and then they fell off, and I was like, okay, never mind.
Yeah. But yeah, that both the Rendon
they were never at the point where I thought the Angels would compete. But it was enough that I was like, could they be interesting to watch this year? No.
Our owner brags about the Rockies potentially going 500 at charity dinners.
We didn't even do that.
Yeah, no.
Right, let's play a game.
So
who had the worst season, Anthony Rendon or Chris Bryant? Let's play a game. Somehow, all right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
They did the same
5,
batting
6.
average.
1, 2, 3, 4,
did.
5, 6,
Incredible.
7. Technically, Chris Bryant had the better year.
Yeah. They both hit 218.
Chris Bryant had a higher on-base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, and OPS plus. The only thing that was different is Chris Bryant had a negative 0.7 WAR, and he only played in 37 games. Jesus fucking Christ!
God, so
he
bad.
had one more RBI. This is like just a level of incompetency I have never seen.
That is incredible.
This is incredible.
He had 2 home runs in 37 games. At Coors Field, dude.
Anthony Rendon had 0 in 57.
Oh my God. Yeah, but I guess he hit some homers in Washington. God, it is crazy that the fall off of both of their careers is crazy.
This is insane. I didn't know it was that bad.
Like the batting average, he's hitting 300, 320 with Washington consistently, and the Angels is 286 and then 240, 229, 236, 218. Wow. Chris Bryant very similar, though Chris Bryant always was hitting under 300, so
yeah,
218 isn't super surprising.
All right. Well, I think we've deteriorated this podcast now. Been up for an hour or so.
Well, thank you everyone who watched then. I guess we'll probably be back on Thursday, at least me and Spects, for NFL stuff. So
yeah.
Woo!
Yay!
Ooh, fucking woo.
Let's go Colts, Rams, Broncos tomorrow.
Go Horse teams.
Go Horse teams.